Now we can privatize static properties. For example, you have a static property here, GMT, with an initialization value 101. Now to privatize this GMT, we can add the hash notation before it, like this. So now this GMT becomes privatized. We cannot access it outside this class time. Then trying to do that, we throw an error. So you see the same error as we did when we tried to access second, minute, hour, and also build string. Now to access this GMT static property, we only have to do it inside this class time. Now let's create a method that will return us the value of this static property GMT. So what we have to do, just create a method. Let me say get GMT, and then we can now access the GMT static property like this. So this GMT will return this static property GMT, and this works like this because the code is inside this class. It is not outside it. Now we can now use the time instance and now call the get GMT, and then it works. Let's run it. Test. So you see it works. Now we have seen how to make static property to be private. Also, static properties cannot be deleted via the delete operator like this. We cannot do this. So hashtag, we can't delete a private operator at all in JavaScript, and also we cannot privatize the constructor. We cannot do something like this. Constructor, we cannot privatize it at all. So you see, it does not work at all. It does not work because also the constructor is a reserved keyword. Trying to access and assign a value to an undeclared private property will throw a syntax error. For example, we are trying to access milliseconds, and we know milliseconds was never declared here at all, and trying to access it a value. Now we throw a syntax error. So you see, private field milliseconds must be declared in an enclosing class. Now if we try to access a private field outside the scope of the class time via bracket notation, we return undefined rather than a syntax error. For example, let's try to access the hour variable via the bracket notation like this. Now this will return undefined. It will not throw an error at all. It will not throw an error. So now let's run it. So you see it returns undefined. But trying to access it via the dot notation, that's where we will get the syntax error. So you see it. Now this is the end of our course lesson, understand private and public fields in JavaScript class. I hope you understood everything here in this course lesson, how to make class properties to be private, and also how to make static properties to be private, how to initialize them in the constructor, and also we can't make the constructor function to be private. Then and also how to make methods to be private, but by appending the hash notation before its method name. Then and also how to access the private class properties inside the class field. Now, so that's all for this our course lesson. Once more, you can follow me on my Twitter handle at NGArchangel, and also if you have any message for me, you can send me email at codwanga40@gmail.com. Thank you so much, and see you in the next lesson.